The Galactic Peace Hall was the largest structure ever built in neutral space. It floated silently in the void between stars, far from any planet. From outside, it looked like a massive ring of glass and metal, glowing softly with blue lights. Inside, it was even more impressive. A dome of light, silence, and tension that today was not just another meeting. Today, the most powerful empires in the galaxy had gathered. Inside the main chamber, hundreds of beings stood or floated or crawled in silence. Alien diplomats, military generals, machine minds, and bio-leaders all had come. They had traveled thousands of light years to be here. At the center of the hall was a circle, the negotiation table. It was not really a table, just a clear space with floating seats around it. And right now, every seat was full. Except one. The human alliance had not arrived. The Krell Dominion was the strongest species in the galaxy. 10 feet tall, armored. Skin and long black claws, they were feared across star systems. They had conquered more than 30 planets in the last 2 years. And today, they expected to crush the human alliance with nothing but words. Krell Commander Varsol leaned forward, his claws tapping the glowing table. His golden armor reflected the dome lights. Where is the human representative? He growled. His voice echoed across the hall. Another alien leader, from the Solari Union, answered softly. They said she is arriving shortly. Varzol laughed. It was a deep, ugly sound, more like a threat than joy. She? The humans send a female? Not even a soldier or a strategist, just a female diplomat? He looked at his second-in-command. This is how weak they have become. Others chuckled too. The laughter grew louder. Even the machine minds made low static sounds that were the closest. They came to humor, then silence. The large doors at the edge of the hall opened. A single human walked in. She wore a dark gray cloak that covered her body. Her face was calm. Her hair was tied back. She had no guards, no armor, no weapons, just a small black case in her left hand. The crowd stared. Some looked amused, some confused. She walked slowly, confidently, like she belonged there. Varzal leaned back, smiling wide. So, this is the great human answer. A soft-skinned diplomat. The woman didn't speak. She reached the empty seat and stood behind. And her eyes met Varzal's, calm and unblinking. One of the Solari leaders whispered, "She looks too young." An old AI from the Mukari cluster scanned her with invisible beams. No weapons, no enhancements, no signal of command. She is nothing special. Varzal raised his voice. "Speak, human. Who are you?" The woman placed the black case on the table. She opened it. Inside was a thin metal disc. She took it out and placed it on the glowing table. The disc lit up. A blue hologram appeared. It showed her identification, Ilara Ren Human Alliance. Diplomatic Corps rank, Level 0 Special. The room laughed again. Level 0? Someone scoffed. She's not even high rank. Is this a joke? Is this a test? Even the calm machine mind seemed confused. Varzal stood up. "I will not waste time with a child. Bring me your real leaders." Ilara finally spoke. Her voice was soft, clear, and firm. "They sent me." Her words were simple, but something in her tone made the room fall silent. Varzal stepped closer. He looked down at her. "I have destroyed cities with less arrogance. Do you know who I am?" "Yes," Ilara said. "I studied your war record. You've lost more battles than you've won. You depend on fear to lead. And you like to talk too much." The hall froze. One of Varzil's guards stepped forward, raising a weapon. But Varzil stopped him with a wave of his claw. He stared at Ilara. "You are brave, little human. Or very foolish." "I'm neither," she replied. "I'm just tired of this war." The Krell commander growled. "You want peace?" "I want truth." She tapped the table. The hologram changed. It now showed hidden footage, images of Destroyed human colonies, secret recordings of Krell war meetings, maps of hidden Krell supply routes. The crowd gasped. Even the AI flickered in surprise. Varzal's eyes narrowed. That information is classified. How did you? Ilara interrupted. You should be asking who gave it to me. The room buzzed with whispers. Was it a Krell traitor? A spy? Or something else? Varzal stepped back. You came here to threaten me? No, Ilara said. I came here to warn you. She turned the hologram off. This game is over. You can continue to push, but every step will cost you more than the last. Your empire is cracking, Varzal. You just don't see it yet. One of the Silari diplomats asked, Why should we believe you? Ilara looked at him. Because I have nothing to gain by lying. The Human Alliance didn't send a negotiator to beg for peace. They sent me to end this conversation. Varzal laughed again. And what will you do, little human? Stare me to death? Ilara slowly pulled something from her cloak, a small metal card. She placed it on the table. The machine minds reacted first. Their lights flickered. One of them gasped in static. Black Sun Protocol. The Solari diplomat stood up in shock. Impossible. That program was erased years ago. Even Varzal looked shaken now. Ilara's voice stayed calm. You thought I was a diplomat, but I was part of something else. A team designed not to fight wars, but to prevent them. By any means. A silence fell. Ilara leaned forward slightly. I've walked through nuclear ruins. I've ended civil wars with one sentence. I've erased entire battle groups with no shot fired. And you laughed at me. Varzal stared at her, eyes glowing. You are a liar. Ilara looked around the hall. I'm not here to impress you. I'm here to give you a chance. She pressed a button on the table. Across the galaxy, human fleets began to move. Silent. Fast, cloaked. Their weapons were not armed yet, but their presence was now known. The screen showed one of the Krell's secret bases surrounded by human ships. No attack, just a message. Stand down or be forgotten. Ilara spoke quietly. This is your only warning. Varzal roared. You dare threaten me in front of the galaxy? Ilara didn't flinch. You threatened Earth with extinction. I'm just returning the message, politely. The old AI mind whispered, the humans. They've hidden more than we thought. A voice from the back, a young alien diplomat, asked, who is she really? No one answered. Because no one truly knew. Not yet. In a quiet corridor later. Two Krell guards whispered as Ilara walked past them. That's just a soft human female. Then why did the Supreme AI flinch when she entered? In the hours after the summit, the Galactic Peace Hall was no longer calm. Whispers filled every corridor. Rumors spread faster than light. Some said the human diplomat was a secret weapon. Others said she was not human at all. One thing was clear. The Krell commander, Varzal, had been shaken. That had never happened before. Inside the human quarters of the Peace Hall, Ilara Wren sat alone. Her room was small and simple. No windows. Just a table, a chair, and a black screen mounted on the wall. On that screen, blue letters glowed softly. Accessing file. Classified, level Omega security clearance. Confirmed user, Ilara Wren status. Asivushi watched the screen carefully. Her face showed no emotion, but her eyes were full of memories. 15 years earlier, planet Theta-9, the ground was red. The sky was gray. Smoke covered everything. Bodies lay silent on the ground, soldiers, civilians, machines. All burned by plasma fire. A younger Ilara walked through the ruins. She wore black armor with no insignia. Her boots crunched over glass and ash. Behind her, a small team followed. 4 humans, silent, focused, deadly. They were the last members of Black Sun Protocol. They were not an army. They were not even listed in official files. They were trained to do the jobs no one else could do. The job's too dangerous. Or too inhuman. That day, they had stopped a civil war in less than 3 hours. Not with weapons, but with words. Hacked AI minds and targeted silence. Ilara had stood before 2 rival leaders and told them both a lie so perfect that they surrendered without knowing it. But Black Sun did not survive Theta 9. Only Ilara came back, and after that, the file was erased. Her name was buried. Her face deleted from all war records. Until now. Back in the present, Ilara stood. She closed the file. Her voice was calm as she spoke into the room. Send a message to command. A soft beep. Recording. This is Ilara Wren. Krell Dominion plans are more aggressive than expected. Varzil suspects nothing. Black Sun files remain secure. Recommend moving Phase 2 forward. Message sent. She turned off the screen and walked toward the door. Elsewhere, Krell High. Command War Room Commander Varzul slammed his clawed fist on the table. His lieutenants flinched. She humiliated me in front of the entire galaxy, he growled. A human diplomat. His second-in-command, Karnak, looked uneasy. She's more than that, Commander. Her name, it's showing up in old shadows. Some of our intelligence networks are being shut down and our data wiped. By her? No, by something else. Something that carries her signature code. Varzil leaned forward. What is she? Karnak hesitated, then spoke slowly. There is a project we once heard about, human-made, called Black Sun Protocol. We thought it was a myth. Varzil narrowed his eyes. Tell me everything. Karnak nodded. It was never a weapon. It was a group of people, trained in advanced diplomacy, code warfare, psychological combat. They weren't soldiers. They were silencers. Peace through precision. Peace through manipulation. And she was one of them? She might have been their leader. Varzil's claws tapped the table again. Then why did we never hear of her before now? Karnak said nothing. But his silence meant only one thing. Whoever trained Ilara Wren had hidden her so well. Not even the galaxy's most feared empire could find her. Varzil growled. I want her gone. Now. Before she does more damage. Later that night, human quarters, a young officer from Earth named Lieutenant Jace Thorne entered Ilara's room. He was only 26, fresh out of tactical school. He had been assigned to assist Ilara, but after seeing her at the summit, he wasn't sure how to speak to her anymore. Ma'am, I brought your reports, he said. Ilara looked up. She gave a small nod. He placed the data chip on the table but didn't leave. He finally asked, Can I ask you something? Go ahead. Why do the Krell seem afraid of you? She looked at him for a moment. Then she said softly, Because they remember what I did on Theta 9. Jace paused. I read about that battle. The report said the war ended suddenly. No official reason. Everyone said it was a ceasefire. She shook her head. No, it ended because one side believed the other had a weapon that could erase their entire species. I made them believe that. Jace's eyes widened. There was no such weapon? No, just a lie, a perfect lie. Jace stepped back. That's terrifying. Ilara smiled faintly. That's diplomacy when peace is no longer possible, he swallowed. So what do we do now? She looked at him. Her face was calm, but her voice was cold. Now we push them to the edge. And watch who jumps first. Krell assassination attempt. Hallway 17C. Karnak didn't trust politics. He preferred clean solutions. That night, he sent a stealth assassin, a shapeshifter species called a Xehanvor. It could copy any form, even a human. It entered Ilara's hallway silently, disguised as Jace. Thorne walked into her room without sound. But when the door closed behind it, the lights flickered. The assassin stopped. Ilara stood in the center of the room, facing away. Her voice was low. You copied his walk, almost perfectly. But not his hesitation. Jace hesitates before entering a room. The assassin shifted back to its real form, a tall, black-limbed creature with no face. "You are dangerous." It said. Elara didn't turn. "I'm not the dangerous one. The real threat is what I brought with me." The creature lunged. In a flash, Elara spun and pressed a small device on her wrist. A shockwave hit the assassin. Its body froze in place. Elara walked closer. "I don't need weapons. I am one." She pressed another button. The creature disintegrated. Silently into ash. The next morning, alien news feeds explode. Unknown sources began releasing classified footage across dozens of systems. Images of Krell war crimes, secret deals, civilian killings, false peace promises. Each file was perfectly timed, hitting key systems where trust in the Krell was already weak. Alien governments began to question their alliances. The Solari Union paused its treaty with the Krel. The Mechari AI minds disconnected from shared data links. Even smaller nations started pulling away. Zul watched in horror as the Krell's power began to crack. He slammed the table. "She's starting a war with information." Karnak whispered, "No, she's ending one." Back in human command ship, Secret Elara stood in a dark room. A secure holocall was open. A shadowy figure, only known as Director Solus, appeared. "You've done well," he said. "Phase 2 has started," Elara replied. Zul is paranoid. His empire is losing trust. Do not underestimate him. Desperate leaders are dangerous. "I know," she said. "That's why I'm preparing something special." The director leaned forward. "Are you sure?" "The Omega Protocol is not reversible." Ilara's face turned serious. "They need to know that Earth is not weak. That we've changed. That we're not afraid to be silent or to be cruel." The screen blinked. "Omega Protocol. Ready for Diplomat," she whispered. "Let them wonder what I really am." The stars outside the Galactic Peace Hall seemed quiet, peaceful. But inside, the silence was sharp, like a blade held to the throat. After the leak of Krell war secrets, chaos spread across the galaxy. Governments began to doubt the Krell dominion. Allied fleets withdrew. Trade systems froze. Old enemies started whispering about rebellion. And at the center of it all stood one woman, Elara Wren. She had not fired a single weapon. She had not raised her voice. But the galaxy was trembling. "Krell. Command. War Room." Vargil paced across the steel floor of his command ship, claws scraping with every step. "She's turning our friends against us," he growled. "This is no longer diplomacy. This is psychological warfare." Karnak stood nearby, silent, watching his commander unravel. "She used to be part of Black Sun, didn't she?" Karnak asked carefully. Varzil's voice dropped to a dangerous whisper. "She still is." The Krell leader slammed a datapad onto the table. 3 more systems just canceled their alliance treaties. One of our secret fuel bases was raided. No attack ships. Just hackers. Karnak spoke slowly. "She's cutting off our claws, one by one, without ever touching us." Varzil's eyes burned. "Find her weakness. Everyone has one." Human quarters. Peace Hall. Elara sat in front of a screen, watching a silent video. It was old footage. Earth. The ruins of Outpost Nova 14. A Krell attack years ago. Bodies on the ground. Children crying in the smoke. Soldiers dead. Among the chaos was a girl, no older than 10, hiding under a broken metal beam. The camera zoomed in. The girl had sharp eyes, not crying, just watching. Elara stared at the screen. That girl was her flashback, 17 years ago, Outpost Nova 14. Elara's family had moved to Nova 14, a quiet colony. Her mother was a teacher. Her father worked with data systems. They had no weapons, no guards, no warning. The Krell came like a storm. They didn't ask questions. They didn't speak. They burned everything. Elara had survived by hiding under the school building. She stayed there for 3 days. No food. No water. Just silence. Listening to the fires, the screams, and the Krell laughter. When Earth rescue ships arrived, they found only one survivor. A little girl with empty eyes. She didn't cry. She didn't speak, but she never forgot that present day. Peace Hall briefing room. Lieutenant Jace Thorne stood in front of Alara. I did some digging, he said. I found something strange. The Krell seemed nervous about one of their own. Someone named Zalter. Alara raised her eyebrows slightly. Zalter is not just anyone. He was once their master strategist. He disappeared 5 years ago. Rumor was he didn't agree with Varzal's war plans, so he vanished? No. He was erased. Jace looked confused. By the Krell? No, Alara said. By me. Jace stared. You killed him? No, I made him invisible, gave him a new name, new life. He's been feeding us information ever since. Jace whispered. He's the one who gave you the files. Alara nodded. And now he's in danger. Krell Stealth Fleet. Shadow Sector 5 Zalter, now living under the name Sail, had been hiding in a forgotten mining sector. Far from war. Far from Krell politics, but Varzal had found him. The Krell fleet surrounded the small planet, like a ring of blades. Inside a cave, Sail sent one last message. To the one who doesn't forget. They've come. I don't regret anything. The truth had to be shared. If I fall, don't stop. He closed the device. Outside, the sky turned red with plasma. Back at the Peace Hall, Alara received the message. Just as it ended, she didn't cry. She didn't scream. She simply stood up and whispered. Now it's personal. Secret meeting. Peace Hall, Section Z9. Alara called a meeting with key leaders from neutral systems. The Solari, the Mechari, I-Mines, and others, she spoke calmly. The Krell have crossed another line. They executed a whistleblower, one of their own. Some look shocked that others expected it. They will not stop. Not until they control every system. The Mechari voice asked, You want us to declare war? No, Alara said. I want you to prepare for war, quietly, smartly. The Solari leader asked, And what will you do? Alara looked them in the eyes. I'm going to remind the Krell why they feared Earth in the first place. Krell Battle Council. Varzal sat in his dark chamber, claws dripping with red liquid from a fresh execution. A screen flickered on. Alara's face appeared. No. Greeting. Just 5 words. I don't forget anything. Varzal snarled. Your spy is dead, Alara replied. Your mistake wasn't killing him. Your mistake was thinking I needed him to win. Varzal leaned forward. You think words can break an empire? Alara's voice turned cold. No, but truth can. Then the screen turned black. And somewhere deep in Krell territory, 10 black ships appeared in orbit, silent, unseen, undetectable. Each one marked with a symbol the Krell hadn't seen in years. Black Sun Protocol. Later that night, human quarters. Jace entered Alara's room, confused. Are we going to war? Alara looked out the window. No, war is already happening. I'm just changing the rules. Jace sat down. Why didn't you tell me about Nova 14? She didn't turn around. Because it's not your burden. He hesitated. You saw your whole colony die? She nodded. And I survived. But I lost more than family. I lost my silence. He looked at her, understanding slowly building. You never forgot, and you never forgave. No, she said softly. But I also learned. Pain teaches fast, and memory never lets go. Jace said quietly, You're not just fighting the Krell, you're fighting the ghosts. She finally looked at him. No, I'm leading them. 1 hour later, Peace Hall alarm. Suddenly, the Peace Hall's alarm systems went off. Red lights flashed. Emergency signals blinked. Someone had breached the system. Security teams ran through corridors. In the central command deck, The screen showed a message. We know what she is. Krell Intelligencia saw it too. She sighed. They found the truth. The peace hall was no longer a place of calm diplomacy. Red alarms blared. The air was thick with tension. The message, we know what she is, echoed through every speaker. The calm before the storm. Alara Rin stood in the middle of the command room, her expression unreadable. She had faced many threats, but this was different. The Krell were no longer just fighting with weapons or lies. They were fighting with fear, the fear of the unknown. Behind her, Lieutenant Jace Thorne paced nervously. "Ma'am, what does that message mean?" Alara didn't answer immediately. Instead, she walked to the large window that overlooked the galaxy. "Let me tell you a story," she said quietly. "The legend of the Ghost Fleet. Long ago, before the first wars, Earth had a secret fleet, ships so advanced they could disappear in the darkness of space. They were called the Ghost Fleet." Jace's eyes widened. "Ghost Fleet?" Alara nodded. "Yes, these ships were not just invisible, they were unstoppable. Their weapons were silent. Their engines could move without being detected. And their crews were the best humans had ever trained. But what happened to them? They vanished. Why? Because their power scared everyone, even Earth's own leaders. They were too dangerous, so they were hidden. Buried. In secret locations, waiting." Jace shook his head in disbelief. Alara smiled faintly. "Some say the Ghost Fleet is a myth, but I know better. Because I was part of the team that kept them hidden." Operation Black Sun. Alara turned back to the room, her face hard. Black Sun Protocol was not just diplomacy or silent war. It was the bridge between peace and total destruction. The Ghost Fleet was our last card. Jace looked stunned. She explained. "The fleet is real. And it is ready. Krell territory, outer rim deep in enemy space. 10 black ships appeared suddenly in orbit around a small, unremarkable planet. They were sleek, dark, and nearly invisible. Inside the lead ship, Alara stood before a holographic map. "Targets confirmed," she said. "We will disable their supply lines first. No destruction, just silence." Her crew nodded. One of the pilots, a quiet woman named Mira, asked, "What if they detect us?" Alara smiled. "They won't." Silent strike. The Ghost Fleet moved. Like shadows, they struck supply convoys without warning. No alarms, no explosions. Just empty ships drifting in space. The Krell scrambled to respond. Varzal watched, helplessly as his empire's resources vanished overnight. He screamed orders. But the Ghost Fleet was always one step ahead. Back at the peace hall, Alara and Jace studied the reports. "The Krell don't know how to fight us," Alara said. "Their weapons can't target ships they can't see," Jace nodded. "But if we keep this up, war is inevitable." Ilura's eyes narrowed. "War is coming. But we will decide when and how it happens." Krell High Command, Desperation Varel, called an emergency meeting. "We need to find their base," he growled. One of his scientists, a nervous Krell named Draculur, presented a theory. "The Ghost Fleet uses technology beyond our understanding. But we detected faint signals near the Tarkus Nebula." Varzuli's eyes glowed. "Prepare a strike team. I want that fleet destroyed." Ilura's past returns. Late that night, Ilara sat alone. Memories flooded back. She remembered the Tarkus Nebula. It was where she had hidden the last of the Ghost Fleet. She pulled up a small device, a relic from her past. Images flashed of old friends, lost battles, and secret codes. Betrayal from within. Suddenly, the door opened. Jace stepped in, face pale. "Ma'am." "Someone breached the peace hall. We think it's an insider." Ilara frowned. "Who?" Jace hesitated. "Commander Ralka." Ralka was a trusted officer, or so everyone believed. Ralka stood in a secret room, communicating with Varzil. "I have the codes to disable the Ghost Fleet's cloaking," he said coldly. Varzal smiled. Then we will burn the ghosts out of the dark. Race against him. Ilara gathered her closest allies. We have a traitor, she said. Ralka is helping Varzal find us. Jace clenched his fists. We need to move, now. Ilara nodded. Prepare the fleet. We leave for Tarkus Nebula. Journey to Tarkus, Ghost Fleet moved silently through space. Ilara stood on the bridge, her mind sharp. She knew the Krell would try everything to stop them. But she had one secret left. The final weapon. Ilara revealed a hidden compartment. Inside was a small device, the Omega Core. It can disrupt Krell technology, she explained. But it's risky, Jace warned. If it works, Ilara said, it will end this war. Battle at Tarkus Nebula. As the Ghost Fleet approached the nebula, Krell ships appeared. A fierce battle began. Ships darted through colorful gases and deadly asteroid fields. The Krell fired everything they had, but the Ghost Fleet was faster, smarter. Elara activated the Omega Core, turning the tide. The Krell ship shuddered. Systems failed. Weapons went dark. Varzal screamed in rage. This isn't over, he vowed. Aftermath. The Ghost Fleet emerged victorious, but Ilara knew the cost. Many ships were lost. Many lives sacrificed. She looked at the stars. This is only the beginning. The galaxy held its breath. The battle at Tarkus Nebula was over, but the war was far from done. The Krell Empire was wounded, but angry, more dangerous than ever. And in the shadows, new threats stirred. After Tarkus, the calm is fragile. Ilara. Ren stood on the bridge of the flagship Black Sun, staring at the starfield. The Omega Core had crippled the Krell's fleet. It was a major victory, but victory came with a price. Losses were heavy. Many of her crew, friends she trusted, were gone. Jace Thorne approached quietly. We need to regroup. The other systems are watching, waiting to see what happens next. Ilara nodded. We must show them that the Ghost Fleet is more than a myth. Whispers in the dark far from the front lines. In a hidden place known as the Shadow Nexus, a new figure observed the war. She was called Nira, a former Krell, assassin turned mercenary. Nira had her own plans. She didn't care about peace or war. She cared about power, and the chaos between the Krell and humans gave her the perfect opportunity. The Gathering. Storm. Nira met with a group of rogue mercenaries and exiled scientists. She spoke quietly. The Krell and humans are destroying each other. But what do we gain? Asked a gruff mercenary. Freedom, Nira said. If we strike now, we can take control. No more empires. No more lies. The group nodded. Plans were made. Ilara's new mission back at the Peace Hall. Ilara prepared for her next move. The systems that had remained neutral were now restless. They feared the Krell, but they also feared war. Ilara knew she had to act fast. She sent out a message across the galaxy. Join us or fall behind. The future belongs to those who fight for peace. Diplomatic tensions. A delegation from the Solari arrived. They were elegant, with translucent skin that shimmered like liquid glass. Their leader, Vileen, spoke calmly. We admire your strength, Ilara, but many fear the Ghost Fleet's power. Ilara smiled softly. Strength is useless without control. I want peace, not destruction. Vileen nodded slowly. We will watch and wait. Rumors of betrayal. Jace discovered strange signals in the communication network. Encrypted messages. Coordinates. Names of ships. He showed them to Ilara. These could be plans for a new attack. Ilara frowned. Or a trap. Nira's strike in the Shadow Nexus. Nira's forces moved. They attacked a small, unprotected supply base on the edge of Krell space. The attack was swift and brutal. Supplies were stolen. Intel was captured. The Krell were furious. Varzal's revenge. Zul was consumed by rage. He ordered a secret weapon activated, the Shadow Virus, a digital virus designed to destroy the Ghost Fleet's cloaking systems. If it worked, The fleet would be exposed. Vulnerable.ela are a single quotes. As countermove, Alara gathered her engineers. We must strengthen our defenses. The shadow virus will come. Her lead engineer, Tariq, nodded. We have developed a firewall based on Omega core tech. It will protect the fleet. Alara felt a small hope. The spy within, but not everyone was loyal. Ralka's betrayal had shaken them. Now, Jace suspected another. A mysterious figure was sending coded messages to unknown recipients. Alara ordered a full investigation. A new ally during a quiet moment. An envoy arrived from the Mechari AI. They offered advanced technology to strengthen the Ghost Fleet. Alara accepted. This war is not just human and Krell, she said. It's about all life. Battle in the shadows. The shadow virus struck first. Ships flickered. Systems glitched. Pilots fought to maintain control. But the firewall held. Barely. Elara ordered a counterattack. They traced the virus back to the Shadow Nexus. Attack on the Shadow Nexus. The Ghost Fleet moved quickly. Ships entered the dark nebula where the Nexus hid. A fierce battle erupted. Nira's mercenaries fought hard, but Ilara's forces were stronger. Nira escaped, but her base was destroyed. After the battle, Leela watched the ruins through her screen. Nira is dangerous, she said. Jace nodded. But she's not our only enemy. The rising shadow in the depths of Krell space. A dark figure watched the news. It was a woman. Powerful. Unknown. Her eyes glowed with cold fire. She whispered, "Let the shadows rise." The galaxy was burning, but in the cold depths of Krell space, a new flame was about to ignite. A dark arrival in a hidden fortress. Far beyond any known star system, a ship landed. Its hull was black as night, with sharp edges that seemed to cut the darkness itself. From its airlock emerged a woman, tall, pale, with eyes that glowed icy blue. She was called Cerise Vhl. No one knew where she came from. No one knew her purpose. Only one thing was certain: wherever Cerise went, destruction followed. Krell High Command Verzal, as anger had not faded after the defeat at Tarkus Nebula. Cerise approached him quietly in the war room. "I can end this war," she said, voice cold as steel. Varzal narrowed his eyes. "And why should I trust you?" "Because I have power you cannot imagine," Cerise replied. "I will make the humans kneel." Varzal smirked. "Prove it." Cerise smiled, but it was not a happy smile. The human Responsiella and Jace sat in the command room, watching. News feeds from across the galaxy. Reports showed strange attacks. Entire planets losing power. Fleets disappearing without a trace. The Krell are not doing this, Alara said softly. JSC looked at her. Who then? Illyra's eyes were hard. Someone worse. A secret Messianella called a special team. She chose Jace, Tariq, and Mira to join her. "We need to find Cerise," she said, "and stop her before she destroys everything." Jace nodded. "Where do we start?" Alara opened a star map. "Here, the Void Rift, a place where space itself twists and breaks." Journey to the Void Rift. The team prepared their ship. Sleek, fast, and equipped with new Mechari tech. The trip was dangerous. Space around the Void Rift was unstable, filled with dark energy storms. But Alara was determined. "We cannot wait." Inside the rift, as they entered the Void Rift, their instruments went crazy. Sensors failed. Communications cut out. A deep silence surrounded them. Suddenly, the ship shook violently. "It's the energy storms," Tariq shouted. "We must hold. Steady." An unexpected ally. A sudden transmission broke through the static. A voice, calm and mysterious. "I see you have found the rift." Ilara's eyes narrowed. "Who are you?" The voice replied, "A friend. But time is short." The transmission ended. Cerise's attack meanwhile. Cerise moved through Krell space like a shadow. Her powers were strange. She could control energy, freeze systems, and manipulate minds. She attacked a Krell flagship, destroying it with a single cold blast. Her message was clear. No one was safe. Back in the rift, Alara's ship struggled against the storms. Suddenly, a massive shadow appeared. It was a creature made of energy, a void wraith. The ship's weapons barely scratched it. Mera fired a pulse that slowed it down. Hold on, Alara shouted. The hidden fortress through the chaos. The team found an ancient space station, broken, but still alive. Inside, they discovered clues about Cerese's origin. She was not Krel. She was something else, something old. The cold fires. Secret, the team learned that Cerese was born from a failed experiment, a fusion of human and alien tech, created to be the perfect weapon. But she escaped. Her heart was cold. Her mission, destruction. A hard choice. Alara faced a difficult decision. The cold fire, Cerese, could be destroyed, but at great risk. She could also try to reach the humanity left inside Cerese. Alara chose the second. The battle within Cerese's fortress was a maze of traps and illusions. Alara's team fought through dangers. At the core, Alara confronted Cerese. Stop this madness, Alara pleaded. Cerese's eyes flickered. For what? For hope. A moment of light. Cerese hesitated. For a brief moment, her cold mask cracked. Alara saw a flicker of pain. But then, the fortress began to collapse. Escape. The team barely escaped as the station exploded. Behind them, Cerese disappeared into the shadows. Alara knew the fight was far from over. The galaxy stood at the edge of its last war. The cold fire was rising. Cerese Vihel, the hybrid weapon of unknown origin, had escaped once again. But Alara Wren was not done. She was preparing for the final dawn. The War Council back on Earth's hidden outpost. Alara stood before a large holographic table. Around her were representatives of the remaining free systems, humans, Silari, Mechari, and even a few neutral Krell. We cannot survive another wave from Cerese, Alara said calmly. She's not just a threat, she's the end of everything. Jace stood beside her, maps glowing red behind them. She's building something. We believe it's a fusion core, large enough to wipe out multiple systems. A Solari general stepped forward. Where is she? Ilara's eyes narrowed. In the dead zone between Creel and human space. We call it the Ash Belt. The Ash Belt was silent space. Long ago, it was full of colonies and stations. Then the first wars happened. Now it was filled with wreckage and dead ships. A graveyard. In the center of that darkness, Cerese had made her fortress. Black walls, cold energy, and a power source growing every hour. Final mission briefing. Inside the Ghost Fleet flagship Black Sun, Alara briefed. Her team one last time. This mission won't be like the others, she said. We're not just hitting a base. We're ending something ancient and wrong. Tariq, now chief engineer, added, we have one shot. We must overload her fusion core before it stabilizes. Mira loaded the final map. There's only one. Way in, we'll need full stealth. Everyone knew the risk. None hesitated. Infiltration begins. The Ghost Fleet, now only 9 ships strong, entered the Ash Belt under cloak. Debris floated all around. Ghosts of the past drifted silently. One ship got too close to a Krell mine. It exploded in silence. Stay tight, Alara ordered. Their stealth tech flickered under the stress of Cerese's power field. Inside the fortress, Alara's team entered through a broken ventilation shaft. The hallways were dark, freezing. Lights flickered like dying stars. Jace whispered, she's not hiding. She wants us to come. They moved deeper. Along the walls, they saw strange markings, half human, half alien. Language twisted together. She's becoming something else, Mira said. Cerese reveals herself in the main core chamber. Cerese stood alone. Blue light swirled around her. She smiled. I've been waiting for you. Alara stepped forward. This Ends tonight. Cerise didn't move. You still think you can stop me, even after all you've seen? Ilara raised her weapon. We don't need to stop you. We only need to destroy the core. Cerise's smile faded. Battle for the core suddenly. Drones dropped from the ceiling. Cerise disappeared in a flash of blue energy. The room became a war zone. Jace and Mira fired at the drones, covering Tariq as he ran to the fusion core. I need 5 minutes, Tariq shouted. You have 2. Ilara answered. Face to face as chaos filled the chamber. Ilara chased after Cerise down a long metallic bridge. Cerise stopped and turned. Why are you doing this? Ilara asked. I was made for war, Cerise said, but I never chose it. Now I choose to end everything. You still have a choice, Ilara replied. Cerise paused. For the first time, she looked unsure. The core overload back at the chamber. Tariq connected the Omega chip to the core. It's working, he said. But we can't stay here when it blows. Jace opened to come to Ilara. Core's set. We need to go. The decision. Ilara had Cerise in her sights. Cerise looked tired. I could destroy you right now, Cerise whispered. But you won't, Ilara said. Because deep down, you're still human. Cerise closed her eyes. You're wrong. But she didn't attack. Instead, she stepped back into the energy stream and began absorbing the overload. A sacrifice, Ilara screamed. Get out of there. Cerise didn't reply. The fusion energy wrapped around her body, burning bright. The entire fortress began to collapse. Ilara ran back to the team. We have to move. They escaped into the ghost fleet ship as fire swallowed the sky. The explosion from space. The final blast looked like a rising sun. Silent. Beautiful. Deadly. The ash belt lit up in golden fire. And then darkness. After the final dawn weeks later, Ilara stood on Earth. Now a symbol of unity. The war was over. The Krell signed a peace treaty. New systems joined the alliance. The Ghost Fleet, once a secret myth, was now honored across the stars. Legacy of Cerise. In a quiet moment, Jace asked, Do you think she's really gone? Ilara looked at the stars. No, but maybe. Maybe she found peace. Final line. And so, in a galaxy that had nearly torn itself apart, it was the humans, the ones once called weak, who stood last. Not because they had the most weapons, but because they never gave up.